Welcome to Subramani. I have made some videos on behavioral finance, and but I have not put it together in one playlist. So today I'm going to talk about what people call the mother of all biases, and I don't know, with the availability of information bias, there is the availability bias and anchoring bias. I don't know which is the mother of all biases, but anchoring is a great bias which I see myself falling into it. So it is very easy to demonstrate. I can give you examples, tons of examples, but cannot catch myself from falling into it. It's like almost like falling in love. I don't know, people, you know all the logic, what should happen, what should not happen, all the rational, but you still go and do it. For example, when you are buying a 25-30 lakh rupee car, it's very easy to buy a 1 lakh rupee music system. But if you are buying or if you are looking at your old car which has got a resale value of 4 lakhs or 5 lakhs, very unlikely that you will spend 1 lakh on the music system, right? Because you are anchored at 5 lakhs and you say 20% is high, whereas at 50 lakhs this is it's 2%, so then you don't mind doing it. But ultimately your net worth is going down by 1 lakh. This is the money spent. So you have to look at 1 lakh in absolute terms rather than in relative terms. Another example is you are in a nice big branded shop buying shoes for 8,000-9,000 rupees, and he tells you, sir, this socks is only 210 rupees or 220 rupees, and you say it's okay. When you're spending 8,000 rupees, 200 rupees looks very small, so you buy the socks. Then you keep it in your car, and then you go into Decathlon and you find a set of 3 socks for 210 bucks, and you know you've been had. Similarly, if you are coming out of a meeting where you have spoken in terms of a 200 crore project, 300 crore project, funding, etc., don't go into a shop to buy things because everything looks cheap. 5,000 rupee or a 6,000 rupee shirt doesn't look as expensive because you've come out of a room where you have spoken numbers in crores and hundreds of crores. So this looks like it's very cheap. These are all impact of anchoring. We all do it. We all will continue to do it. So the thing is to say, okay, if it is so easy to demonstrate, it's so easy to come out of it. You have to make an attempt. Make sure that when you're buying things, you are buying things in, you're just buying those things on a particular day which are all similarly priced. So you go into a shop, you go into a Reliance Retail and you're picking up grocery. Don't worry too much about pricing. You can afford all that. You buy it. You may go wrong on quantity, but you can't go too wrong on pricing, right? So prices are fixed. You can't negotiate. That's fine. But when you on a day when you're buying a car, don't buy anything else. On a day when you're buying a car, 14,000 rupee shoe looks cheap. On a day when you're buying 25-30 lakh rupee car, 87,000 rupee cycle looks cheap, right? You don't think in you always compare and say, oh, that I've spent 48 lakhs on a car, so what is instead of 87,000, if I spend 92,000, what difference does it make? Whereas on a day when you're going very independently to buy a cycle, you don't think about the price of the car, price that you paid for the car or for something else, right? You don't worry about those things. You just think about this. So this is anchoring, and we are all impacted by anchoring. And similarly, anchoring impacts our investment decisions also. For any good investor, the starting point is to know the difference between price and value. On the same day that Paytm takes shares for its own employees at 9 rupees, it has no qualms in giving the share to you at 2,150 rupees, and the CFO has the audacity to say, we could have priced it higher, but we wanted to leave something on the table for the investor. Just look at that statement. It's going to be a motherhood statement, like people saying, oh, now the market is in a state of permanent euphoria, it can never go down, right? We have heard such statements in the past, and you know this is one of those statements. Look at how can you talk about valuation in a class when you have no clue as to whether 9 was right or 2150 was right, or now today what holds me back from buying Zomato at 77 rupees is Ashwath Damodaran anchoring again, saying the share is worth 47 rupees. So if I want it, I have to buy it at 77, or it just does not allow me. My brain just does not allow me to buy the share at 77. I'm waiting for it to reach 47. I'm not even getting into whether 47 is right or 77 is right, but that kind of an anchoring happens because the person who is talked about it is a very great guy in terms of valuation. So right, so that is again anchoring, because now I'm anchored to 47, and I think at 47 there will be a lot of buying. Will it come to 47? I have no clue. If you want to buy, whether you should buy now, whether it's a great buy, good buy, bad buy, I don't know. I have bought, and I'm not in the money. I started buying at 90. I've also bought at 80. So it's not in the money, so I cannot even comment saying I've made money in it. Hopefully I may make money, or I may just sell off everything at a particular price and wait for it to reach 47, the price which Damodaran said is the right price. Is Damodaran always right? I don't know, but that anchoring, I'm just giving you these examples for talking about anchoring. Now I'm anchored at 47, right or wrong, time will tell. Enough experiments have been done in the US. People have been asked to write down the last 3 digits of their security or their equivalent of their Aadhaar, their social security number, and then asked to bid on things, and people with bigger numbers bid bigger amounts. So anybody who is asking you to think about numbers, etc., and he's selling a product to you, there's a good chance that he or she is manipulating you into bid a higher price or commit to a bigger amount when you are thinking. So it's easy to sit with you and talk to you about a house costing 3 crores, 6 crores, whatever, or talking about all those things, and then saying why don't you do an SIP of 50,000 rupees. Whereas if I come and talk to you about smaller things, then that 50,000 might become 20,000, right? So it's important that anchoring is cost. I mean, Bata used to do it. Bata used to keep I'm talking of long back, Bata used to keep 8,000, 9,000 rupee hush puppy shoes in front. So anchor you around 8,000, then make that 699 or a 799 or even 999 look much cheaper, because you've already hit that 8,000 in your head. So you think 8,000 rupees is a fair price for a shoe. It's a very good shoe. It has hush puppies, nicely branded, very comfortable. I've used hush puppies, I wouldn't say all my life, or big parts of my life. It's a very good shoe, there's no doubt. But the fact that it is displayed in the front of the shop is to tell you, now we are anchored on 8,000-9,000 rupees. These shoes inside will look much cheaper. We have all been manipulated, and we all have fallen for it. There is no, so whether a real estate broker who's showing you 4 BHKs and 5 BHKs and then making you settle for a small 3 BHK, is again anchoring. He's pushed you to a higher game, and then he brings you down. So similarly, asking you to invest money in an SIP is to bring down the size of the investment, rather than to say, of course the SIP has its advantages, but I'm saying, so there's one beautiful short story which you see. It's not a short story, I would say a short forward, where there is a guy who's selling coconut water, and he sells coconut water at 35 rupees a piece, and he says or something like 30 rupees a piece, and he says 100 for 3, right? Now this is ridiculous, because when it is 30 bucks for one, why should it be 100 for 3? So there is one guy who comes, pays him 30 bucks, buys one, pays him 30 bucks, buys one, and buys and again pays him 30 bucks, and so he's bought 3 for 90 bucks, and he's demonstrating it to his friend. So his friend goes and tells the shopkeeper, what are you doing? Why are you selling it at 3 for 100 when the price is only 30? So it is actually only 90. He says, if I did not put this board that 3 coconuts for 100, your friend would buy just 1 coconut. He'll come, pay 30 bucks and go. Now he's buying 3 just because he wants to feel very smart that he's done a deal where he's cheated me, because I was selling 3 coconuts for 100, but my aim was not to charge 100 for 3 coconuts. It has to be 90 bucks. But because of this board, your friend is buying 3 coconuts, which is very beautifully said, but this is again anchoring. You're stuck to a price and you say, wow, I'm getting it at a lower one. So whenever somebody tells you, buy 5 for the price of 4 or buy 6 for the price of 5 or whatever. I mean, imagine going and buying 4 pants just because, or buying 3 pants because you'll get one free. Maybe you need 1 pant a year, but you will end up overbuying, and that's the purpose, right? The purpose is to say, okay, buy, take 4 for the price of 3, take 5 for the price of 4, right? These are all, again, we anchor and we buy. So nothing, when there, in case of uncertainty, we like to again go to familiar background, and then we do anchoring. You also understand one big problem: if a ship is anchored, it can't really do much, right? For the ship to move, the anchor has to be removed. So similarly, for being a good investor, the anchor has to be removed. So we all believe. So those people who believe that money should be in index funds have to understand that in the world index, India is only 2% or maybe 3% now, not more than that. So if you believe in indexing, you have to believe in the world indexing, not in the India indexing. Believing in an India index is a very funny story, because either you believe in indexing, then you believe in the world indexing. You don't believe in the Indian index. But today, indexing itself, I mean, I could write a book on indexing behind ETFs. It's grown so big. There is just so much, but okay, sorry, I'm digressing. Take the simple case of upgrading or downgrading a stock or a share. Do you think every fund manager goes down to the basics and starts from zero and does it? No, but there are some companies which will never get downgraded, because people will keep on writing a story saying how HDFC Limited is a great buy, India has very poor penetration of housing finance, and therefore, but HDFC Limited story is not about mortgages, right? It's a Berkshire Hathaway of India. That's the reason why you're buying. Look at the companies that they promoted. They've got 10% stake in 3 banks now. They've got a more than 15-20%, I don't know the exact numbers, in the mutual fund, and then but we are anchored on that this is what will be told. But but I'm again digressing. But to how to do an upgrade and a downgrade is, first you want to do an upgrade or a downgrade, and you're seeing for the consensus, you're seeing what the others are saying. So if you're a fund manager, you're saying what the big fund managers are saying. Now look at the pressure on a small fund manager. Do you think he has the ability and guts to differ very violently from the bigger fund managers? So when Naren Shankaran makes a statement, there's tremendous pressure on other fund managers to say, no, this is wrong, right? It may not be very, the younger fund manager may be correct, but to try to go against is again anchoring. So this person can't be wrong, this person's valuation can't be wrong. So if he has invested in this fund in this company at this price, he can't be too wrong, because he's a good negotiator. He always gets good prices. He does deals my size. So if he has got it right, then because he has bought it, he has got it right. Now look at Paytm, right? Again, going back to the same example, at 2150, somebody thought it's a good price. So many people applied. So many people have lost money. Or a Reliance Power at 450 rupees. Right, so all these are anchoring mistakes, because once you buy them at those prices, you believe that is a fair price, because that's the price you paid for it. It's also called the my price theory, saying isse niche to nahi ja sakta, because this is the IPO price. Or shatter all those myths. Don't get anchored. If you have bought a bad product, you have bought a bad product, right? We get into our own the price which we paid, or the previous high, or the price at which a buyback is done. How can KPR Mills be a bad buy at 600 when the management is buying it at 800? That's the buyback price. The management may be buying 1%, 2%, 5%. It's not that they are willing to buy all the shares in the market at 800 rupees, right? So, but we will anchor. We will say, oh, this is a good price to buy simply because the management has bought it. Management could be completely wrong. So while you are taking a financial decision on price or value or something, make sure that you are not anchoring. Anchoring, like I said, it is easy to demonstrate. I have made enough anchoring mistakes. And very difficult not to keep making that mistake. You know that anchoring is a bias. That's the funny thing about behavioral finance. You know that there is behavioral finance. You know that you're making mistakes, and you still continue to make mistakes. I think it's called Maya. Thank you.